NCERT, Chapter 1, A Letter to God. The story has been written by G.L. Fluentus, and he was a Mexican poet, novelist, and also a journalist. Koro sung nainathange A Letter to God sung no tamafurang sung abono a chapter o sung bujilaina step to step very important summary काम के बुझिदि किन्नौ नि बागै easy ngi thanai na rok jefru questions answers see you ठीक है before you read they said faith can move mountains but what should we put our faith in this is the question this story delicately poses Lancho is a farmer who writes a letter to God when his crops are ruined, asking for 100 pesos. Pesos, okay, Mexican currency. So they write about Mexican, okay, or story no, Mexican story the Nazar. Does Lancho's letter reach God? Does God send him the money? Think what your answers to these questions would be, and guess how the story continues before you begin to read. The story is all about Koroksa Borok mini bung Lanchos Avon story Koro or je chapter o Sijak Bokaisha Mura Hatai Sakavo Ekdam Hasal Kusugo take any value o crest or mini no kaisha take a nogo bo mini busa mini bihi borok by tongo. Avonati ne bo letter simani God no Jeffru mini Joto mini farm mini keto yani je mais yani mokodam bu nostongi thama mani abonati ne bo kai to ne digi sanmani god ne di sanmani je bono belaino rang nang bo যদি rangmai anke bo obo sarkaisa mai ma se ma tongnai ki abagi ne bo god no letter si mani a letter no sung baike sabotu damang kha borang na to the mayanka you know so all these things we are going to learn in this chapter okay first we go with this chapters in korapori thaline the house the only one in the entire valley pura valley yani wadiyo ठीक है मेरा पूरा जगह एरिया वो पूरा जगह वो mongni nog no sudu kaisha je set on the crest of a low hill ekdom kusuk saga bongni mura saga bongni nog kaisha. From this height, one could see the river and the field of ripe corn dotted with the flowers that always promised a good harvest. The only thing the earth needed was a downpour or at least a shower. Throughout the morning, Lancho, who knew his fields intimately, had done nothing else see but see the sky towards the northeast. Now we are really going to get some water, woman. Many big saga. The woman who was preparing supper replied, Yes, God willing. The oldest boys were working in the field while the smaller ones were playing near the house until the woman called to them all, Come for dinner. It was during the meal that just asked. Okay, so sun koro koita word sun nailena je word meaning abuno sun nailena, ठीक है जैसे कोरोना रोनु का वैली के मुरा हाथा ऐसा का है ना कुछ वैली था ठीक है अपना हो क्रेस्ट इनके टॉप ऑफ द हिल ठीक है क्रेस्ट यानी एकदम टॉप हिल और नॉक पमन चोटी हिंदी में चोटी ठीक है तो इनके संगर्ता वर्ड मीनिंग से सरंजना इनके हार्वेस्ट तो मतलब जो तुम साइमनो कहते खाई मैंने हार्वेस्टिंग ठीक है तो इनके अरसंग the downpour for a word downpour means heavy rain wati kubang ma ठीक है फाइनली बागी तबो काय तो ने देगी गॉड ने देगी sunlight बनी बरो इनके ते तम word संकरम man साइमना नांके देखें preparing supper इनके evening dinner और नीचामु ठीक है अब उनके supper हो so KOKBOROK tam nuka je bongni nok ekdom kuchuk sakabo alti borok tamo jeto river obo nukjago te bongni tam nugi dam mokodam ekdom kaham ke achai tongmani yani white color ni যদি blai ongkar kanke mokodam kaham ongo ngene borok abo nukha inke borok belai no tongthokjak je what if sini phaikenke sini जों kaham ke harvest khaimanani kheto khaimanani ठीक है god ni इच्छा tongka ke जों kaham ke income khaimane te जों sini mais ani je sini mokodam kaham ke asainai te जों phalimanai ठीक है so white flower aro ongkorjak boro nungmani belai tongthokjak so abono no ke boro chamung ni bagui mini logi song mini logi mini busa buti jotono no rungkha chana ni bagui sari ni chamung tei borok bukhao belai ke tongthokjak je watini heavy rain rukhange downpour rukhange mongni jotono je kheto kahamung nai ngi ठीक है so o part sung abono koro bujiu Lencho had predicted big drops of rain began to fall ठीक है bo wan suka wati renai tabu kaham ke renai mini bukha bisingo bo wan sugui predict khai tonga in the northeast, huge mountains of clouds could be seen approaching. Any northeast digi tamnu gi tongka kotoma clouds badal, ठीक है? Abo phai tongmani bo nukha. The air was fresh and sweet. Jo novar belai na tongthok kaham bo rosogagi tongka. The man went out for no other reason than to have the pleasure of feeling the rain on his body. Bo wati manjanan belai ke musunjagi tongka, ठीक है? And when he returned, he exclaimed, "These aren't raindrops falling from the sky. They are now, they are new coins." Very, very important points. New coins. Any borok the rain ni drop no borok rang by calculate rang by suka aje lenchos. ठीक है अब no they are new coins. यानी जे the big drops are 10 cent. यानी जे कत watini je drops abonga 10 cent no bono 10 cent hisabo nomka they little get 5 cent obo abono calculate khage je I asu ke sang tini what if khage income khayane with a satisfied expression he regarded the field of ripe corn with its flowers draped in a curtain of rain, but suddenly a strong wind began to blow, and along with the rain, very large hailstones began to fall. Kotor kotor ke tamka boro once we tomane wati fine ngene kotor ke tamka hailstone faika hailstone ngene nini borof kotor ke kalai kya ठीक है जो बुबलाई के चिंतांजा खवाना चलो this truly did um, um this truly did resembles new silver coin. The boys, exposing themselves to the rain, ran out to collect the frozen pearls. It's really getting bad now. Means asake bora wansuga kisa ke na komi thangana ge wati gonta kaisa supana means a kom rathang ngene bora wansuga tomane e gonta ni ya bisi wati yani je hailstorm फाइजाका अब फाइमानि बागै bongni jotto je bongni kheto mais yani mokodam kheto beng kupur chadoro khobjak bai kya yani hailstorm bai snow bai beng ke khobjak bai kya ठीक है it's really getting bad now explained the man I hope it passes quickly dotino lai thangana watino while journeying in hailstorm it did not pass quickly for an hour the hail rained on the house any gonta kaisa suk ritong kana wate the garden, the hillside, the cornfield on the whole valley, the field was wide as if covered with salt. Means pura salt, kufur ke pareng no copy Rebecca. Not a leaf remained on the trees. The corn was totally destroyed. The flowers were gone from the plants. Lance's soul was filled with sadness. He was sad that time because he was thinking that um, he was predicted that we are going to earn so much money. And so what happened? The hailstorm destroyed all, ruined all his prediction. है ना जे बरो वानसुगी तंगमानि joto na je hailstorm boni deveng je wansugma dono kosoge do bakya. When the storm had passed, he stood in the middle of the field and said to his son, A plague of locust could have left more than this. The hail has left nothing. कितना मसाला क्या बुसा भाई बुरा के जो locust यानी yong है ना जे हमारे रक्षा नहीं यानी माइनर नोस्ता खाने locust yong ठीक है अब वो फानो से आसे के नोस्ता खाया ना जे ओ hailstorm जे या जे बरफ नहीं नोबार आज जे नोस्ता खाई बार मैं नहीं बागई this year we will have no corn Taklay this bossers kunu mokodam manglaka. That night was a sorrowful any boni dukhu ngeda so sorrowful boni a hor. All our work for ruining, you know. There's no one who can help us. Korkeva suna chubanai kare. We all go hungry this year. Taklay bossers my masaya no tongsinai hinginai salaketa. Okay. Next, but in the hearts of all who lived in the solitary house in the middle of the valley, there was a single hope, help from God. Boni kaisa asa tongmani, asa tong je, kaitor, any God, abuno, subawan hanginai. And don't be so upset, even though this seems like a total loss. Remember, no one dies of hunger. No one dies of hunger. That's what they say. No one dies of hunger. This one hope, the help of God, whose eyes, as he had been instructed, see everything, even what is deep in one's consciousness, conscience. Lencho was an ox of a man working like an animal in the field, but still he knew how to write. The following sudden Sunday at daybreak, he began to write a letter which he himself would carry to town and place in the mall, in the mail. It was nothing less than a letter to God. Tamunka, bukata baidi hin mani, busa mi bo salai mani. Buka tange kaito tongo, God tongo, bo suna chubanai, bo suna help kainai. Sung asike animals hai, janwar hai, sung tamung klai lai kya. Sung posto klai lai kya, abona suna God chubanai, hingine bo. Wan su lai kya, borok. Ike bo, mai masaya wi thiya. You know? So lencho tam khai kya, bo later start khai kya sinani. Sabuno unke God no. ठीक है it was nothing less than a letter to God. Kaitano, God no bo letter sika, letter sinai bo, tauno thanka, tauno bo thanginai, mail post box o direct khata. ठीक है any kaito God bono chubawan hangai help khai nai. So God Tamsika, he wrote, if you don't help me, my family and I will go hungry this year. Jodi nung suna chubaya, so jodi nung suna help kaya. Okay, so my machayavana or taklay bosa sung tongsinai. I need 100 pesos, any exo pesos, ajoro, Mexican unke to pesos ho, okay, bongi, abo 100 pesos bo rang nang kata, take it? In order to sow my field again, tesa ang keto kana ni bagay ang 100 pesos nango. Ano to bang destroying it angka. And to live until the crops comes because the hailstorm. He wrote to God on the envelope, put the letter inside and still troubled went to town. At the post office, he placed a stamp on the letter and dropped it into the mailbox. Stamp rok dinge mailbox of direct. One of the employees, who was a postman and also helped at the post office, went to his boss, laughing heartily, and showed him the letter to God. Any letter to God, one other like a letter box, so diary money, post office, so diary money, postmaster nuka, the post box, kulunai nuka, no money tam season letter to God. Any bo belai ke manikya, bang manikya, give me postmaster or no postman Abano mean postmaster no Funuka. Never in his career as a postman had he known that address. Tabi ang ringay. Ke wana jakata ke bini postmaster kasha londa patoma ke fat amiable fellow. Amiable when it's really helpful buka kaham है ना amiable by मिली तोनाई अब उनका amiable हो ठीक है also broke out laughing, but almost immediately he turned serious and tapping the letter on his desk. Commented, commented, what faith? Busuk bisas mini, God ne degi. Busuk bisas mini kaito ne degi. I wish I had the faith of man who wrote his letter, who wrote this letter, starting up a correspondence with God. What faith? I wish I had the faith of man who wrote, starting up a correspondence with God. So, in order to not to shake the writer's faith in God, the postmasters came up. So, in order not to shake the writer's faith in God, the postmaster came up with an idea, answer the letter, but when he opened it, it wasn't evident that to answer it, it needed something more than goodwill. ठीक है so borok je once ulai mani khulugi nai ke later no khulugi nai nai tam sika aboni borok answer the remand hangine borok khulugi nai mani boloke nukha alu tam nukha ke needed something more than goodwill yani the this is sanke bani bage blessing san mani hena abo si ro kana abo hai pan ung man kana apana aroke different bo nukha je bo tam sija ke ani joto crops no stanka ano 100 pesos nango ani samu तो ऐसा आंख है तो खाना नहीं बागे हैं नहीं अरस ली सकता ठीक है so answer it needed something more in ink and paper but he stuck to his resolution he asked for money from his employees he himself gave part of the salary so je mini bisas no kai to na to bo god na to bo letter hori malia ke borok tam plan kai ke je mini bisas sunu gine borok hari bono chubawa na ngine je postmaster bo wansuka pay mini salary ti bono je 100 pesos sung hori the man sung na lai ngine ke bo collect kai ke je bini ti bo je bini salary ti na ka tai mini employees na ro nai nai thumi nai total collection kai ke 70 pesos so aw koros sung logana ठीक है it was impossible for him to gather together the 100 pesos, so he was able to send the farmers only a little more than half. He put the money in an envelope addressed to Lancho and with it a letter containing only a single word as a signature God. Or a signature kind of Viroka, that is God Rohorongane, half of more than half. Yani 70 rupees, 70 pesos. Borok, botono charity खाने थुमु या कोई नहीं बोनी जे पोस्ट ऑफिस ने borok पोस्ट मास्टर मिले जाए borok री रहो कथा ये लास्ट और सिग्नेचर री का गॉड रहो रोंगे नहीं ठीक है so pointer asuk the following Sunday Lancho came a bit earlier than usual to ask if there was a letter for him bo phaike dati no Sunday wo kuno letter the sopai ani mungtui it was the postman himself who handed the letter postman no bono letter Yafaririka. It was the postman himself and the letter to him was the postmaster. Experience the contentment of a man who has performed a good deed looked on from his office. Lancho showed not the slightest surprise on seeing the money. Such was his confidence, but he became angry when he counted the money. Any borok naisiki tongka botong tozaga na je samung kam khaimani ana borok office tin naisiki tongka haipano je fru lencho rang khulugi nai ke je fru je envelope khulugi nai ke afru ke bo je fru rang count khaiparo mini je mukhango joli jama se phairisu anger ni thanga te joli jaksu tangi joli jakha God could not have made a mistake. God mistake khaimia nor could he have denied Lancho what he had requested. Je kai charno bo God na sanmani abo bo rohar kana haipeno tamukha abo korosumai immediately Lancho went up to the window to ask for paper and ink tesa paper and ink sanka sina nibage on the public writing table he started to write with much wrinkling of his brow caused by the effort he had to make to express his ideas. When he finished, he went to the window to buy a stamp. Again, he buy the stamp, which he licked and then he affixed. This is a letter, God no. Tam sika. So final degi, avana na. The envelope with a blow of his fist. The moment of the letter fell into the mailbox, the postmaster went to open it. It said, God. खुलूगे नहीं कहता जैसे बहुत ऐसा दायरे का लेटर ना ठीक है Arsyadon God, of the money that I asked for, only 70 pesos reach me. Jen angano 100 pesos nangano roho kana, arani 70 pesos sanara sokpayu. Send me the rest, baki, rang, pesano roho di. Je 30 pesos tongko. Since I need it very much, ang belai ke nangi tong. But don't send it to me through the mail. Ano, mail tui, ta rohor dimu. Neri koro, mail tui, ta rohor dimu. Tamni hinke, the post employees is a bunch of crooks. The bunch of crooks yani, shiko. ठीक है tabu korasung kok bujina thananing kengke neng borok no ase ke chuba pano a borok nini cost no bujiye ulta je chuba nai rono se borok bo a je lencho tamen ka bunch of crooks eni shikok dol rok se borok ngene to belaino story nangoni jorabo api phainai je pru nang ke bono chuba bo a chuba nai borok no olo ke bon a je chuba janai borok haina hamia sao api haina o story o lencho to chuba jana inge sabai a post office ni borok bai bo aje rangman mani abai satisfying na nangmani haipano buni icha god ne dege te sanman te man nangi tong bo to sa nangi tong te rang sab ko kangene je rohonai rongna se borok bo wancho ka siko kangene so this is the story of letter to a god letter to a god so next story son highlight next class